See what the message is like.
Thank you, Norma. For announcements, we'll start Sunday school next week. And then, as you've seen, we've set up the discussion groups that we'll have towards the end of the month on the 20th and 27th, I believe. And there's been some interest expressed around the yearly meeting about folks joining us. Sarah Lucabill is announcing it at Fairfield this morning, and others have from other yearly meetings have expressed an interest. I think it's just been interesting that people seem to want to talk about something positive. There's also, for those of you who are on Facebook who may not have noticed, there's a great deal going around on Indiana yearly meetings leaving FUM and what that means, and so they've been lots of interesting comments, and as usual among friends, lots of opinions, and no small amount of misinformation. And I thought one of the most revealing comments was that a friend from the East, I think they were from New England yearly meeting, was actually saying a lot of people who are not affiliated, especially Friends General Conference people who don't know much about Friends United meeting, think that it's just a big block of very conservative people, who were and they use the term Bible thumpers, and said, and they don't recognize the theological diversity that FUM has and is trying to embrace as it moves forward. And there were a number of FGC friends commenting as, well, we always thought that. And it's just like how little understanding we have of each other. It's just like, I know a great many FG or FUM people think FGC is a whole bunch of liberals. And there are a great many who are liberal in some things, but very Christ-centered in others. So it's, I mean, we're all pretty diverse and we just don't know each other very well. And I think if we would get to know each other and that which is eternal, as the old friends used to say, and would trust each other, we might have fewer divisions. But that got off of announcements, sorry. Are there other announcements, that any events coming up?
The USFW International Board will be meeting Friday and Saturday. And the whole FUM business, of course, affects USFWI as well. Have no idea how that will play out, but your thoughts and prayers would be appreciated during that, I'm sure.
Now, is Indiana part of that regional group?
It's there's no short answer to the question.
Okay.
No, it would be the short answer, but there is a lot of nuance that we don't have time to go into.
Okay. Joys and concerns to share?
I've been on vacation.
Okay.
It was a joy.
I just saw a text this morning from Dinah Geiger saying that her husband will be coming home from the hospital or from rehab tomorrow. He's been in and out of the hospital and rehab for a number of months, most of the summer, very, very ill. And he is coming home tomorrow, and that's both a joy and a concern for her. I think she has health issues of her own, so taking care of somebody who is as will need as much care as he does is going to be a challenge for them. So they could use our thoughts and prayers too, I'm sure.
Well, yesterday was Nancy's 79th birthday, and one of the daughters insisted that we go out to eat, and there was supposed to be 4 of us and turned into 10 of us, and it was nice, but very wearing for Nancy. She just doesn't handle lots of business around her, so she is sacked out on the sofa this morning. Yes, but she had a good day yesterday, and but everybody's noticing more and more decline. She's just really failing in the last couple months. So, but she was determined she would make 79, so she did.
And now she has a new goal, and it's 80.
Well, yeah. Of course, she doesn't remember she's 79 now either, because that was when we went to the restaurant last night. She knew it was her birthday, and the hostess asked her how old she was, and she said she was 75. And then she looked at me, she goes, "That's right, isn't it?" I go, "Well, it's close." So, and the lady goes, "Well, you don't look 75.
Dad's birthday is tomorrow.
Really?
He would have been 107, Sylvia, is that correct?
Wow. Well, we have much to celebrate and much to be concerned with. Think of the folks who survived the hurricane and are still recovering from the fire. I did hear from Maui friends. I wrote to everybody, and that'll be a long recovery. They suggested that the group that was doing the most and handing out the most relief was the United Way there. So we may talk about that at monthly meeting in a couple weeks, because that need will still be ongoing. So there's still much hurt and trouble in this world that has to lay on our hearts that perhaps we can help address. Chip is the worship leader this morning, so let us take some moments to center and give Chip a chance to center, and then he will lead as he feels led.
Good morning, friends. I hope everyone is enjoying their Labor Day weekend. I really have been enjoying mine and did a few things I haven't done for years. Well, I went on a mini vacation from Thursday afternoon till Saturday morning. I went to North Webster, Indiana, which is about 2.5-hour drive from my home. I didn't drive there. Brandon only lets me go as far as Brent and Nancy's house. I went up to visit my friend Troy, who is staying in his family's cabin on a lake. I haven't been away from my home for over 10 years, and I have not been on a boat since the 60s. I was way outside my comfort zone, but after I did my last message about not liking change, I decided to embrace change, and I was so happy I did. I'm looking forward to more changes in my future. And oh yes, I still am not happy with my computer. In my new computer, I was told it would be so simple to use and I would have no problems. That couldn't be further from the truth. I had to buy a bunch of new stuff. The computer is wireless, so I have to charge the mouse and the keyboard. And I get no warning. They just die. It just drives me crazy. I thought that I would have to do my message a day using 3x5 cards, as the Open Office program wasn't working. I couldn't get anything to print. I don't know what I'm supposed to explain. I've got to explain something. Oh, well, after I go to bed at night and I get up every morning, and I thank God for getting the cats and I through another day. And then I pray and I ask him, please give me the strength not to take a hammer and murder my computer. And it's hard because there's just so many things. You want to print something. When I wanted to print like this message, I would go to, on my old computer, I would go to the printer and poke it, print, and it prints. This one, you got to go to the top, push up here, something else comes down, you push here, and then something else comes out, and you push, and it's like where I was able to do one thing in one step, now it takes me 5 or 6 steps to do something, and I can't remember what they are. Well, I won't mention any product names, but let me say Adam had a problem when he bit one. Now, my message for today is about not looking back. Don't look back. What came to your mind?
Lot's wife.
Do you think about Lot's wife in Genesis? Or maybe you thought about something from a movie you've seen. Well, let's start with Genesis 19:17. And an angel tells Lot, Flee for your lives, don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains or you will be swept away. And then we get to Genesis 19:26. But Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. Well, my message for today, you're gonna hate this too, is from this message today was from the New International Version of the Bible. But now here is my favorite quote about Lot's wife. And Lot's wife, of course, was told not to look back where all the people and the homes had been. But she did look back, and I love her for this because it was so human. She was turned into a pillar of salt, so it goes. Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five. When I say don't look back, I think of the movie, the 1939 movie version of Drums Along the Mohawk. Henry Fonda puts wife Claudette Colbert in a wagon, and they're running because the Indians are attacking, and he tells her, don't look back. Of course she does, and she sees her cabin is on fire and is all upset. And then there's always the 1945 film Bambi. Hunters come into the woods to shoot and kill the animals, and Bambi's mother tells him, don't look back, keep running. My message for today, my message for you can't beat yourself up over a mistake in the past. There is no need to keep looking back and wishing for a different outcome that may or may not have changed your life. So many people talk about, oh, if I knew what I knew now and could just go back and do it all over again. Well, I think if that was possible, it would drive us crazy. We would know what the bad things that were coming. We'd try to change them. And we'd spend all our time worrying about things that we wanted to change instead of concentrating on why we wanted to go back and do things over. So we have to stop saying, what if? What you should be doing is being excited about what's coming next. What new and improved thing is coming into your life? Songwriter Robbie Robertson said, what's around the next corner moving forward? I'm not big on retracing my hardships and going back to things. I am more curious about what the next change is. And then we come to Isaiah 43:18. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. Okay, let's move on to other people's past. You know that isn't a good thing to dwell on our own past, but what about other people's past mistakes? I'm sure everyone knows this story, but here we go. Jesus was talking to a group of people, and suddenly a woman was brought before him who had sinned. And all the people wanted to stone her. And Jesus was having nothing to do with it. And so in John 8:7, he says, so when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is among you that was without sin, let him cast the first stone at her. Well, of course, no one did. I remember being called to jury duty, and this one man, they were questioning us, and the one man said, I'm a very religious person. I don't feel like I can get up here and judge this man. And then they came to me and they said, well, Mr. Pierson, I see you're a Quaker. Do you feel the same way? And I said, I'm not here to judge him. I'm here to determine whether he's innocent or guilty. So no, I don't have any problem being on the jury. Well, they didn't pick me anyway. Too often we are in a hurry to point out other people we think have flaws. We are not here to judge one another. That is the job of someone higher up. And just what is a sin? So many religious groups have what they call they use a sin buffet. They go through the Bible and pick out what they think is a sin and skip over the ones that might apply to them. They may say they love you and are going to pray for you, but they do not want you to join their church. because you are a sinner and have no worth. It all goes back to looking back on a person you may think is worthless, but in the eyes of God, in their eyes of their God. This brings me to a story I saw on TV. I was flipping around, waiting for the news to come on, and a minister was there talking, and he took out this nice new crisp $100 bill. And he said, "What is this worth?" And of course the congregation goes, $100. So then he folds it. And he goes, "Now what's it worth? It's got a crease in it." "Oh, it's still worth $100. Well, he folds it a few more times and he gets more answers. It's still worth $100. Then he spits on it and he puts it on the floor and he rubs his foot around on it and he picks it up and he unfolds it and he said, what's it worth now?" And it was still worth $100. Then he took it and made a big ball out of it. And he said, "What's it worth now?" And they said $100. And he flung it out into the audience. He said, "Who wants this?" I told Brent after that, if we threw out a few $100 bills, we could get friends to come to meeting more often. But what his point was that no matter what's happened in the past, God still loves you and you're still worth the face value. So we shouldn't be judging other people just because they've been folded. Okay. Okay. Now I told Brent that. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is that we still can't dwell on the past and that we should not dwell on the mistakes of other people. And from the Sermon on the Mount, judge not, lest ye be judged. Well, I got through that quick. So in closing, I would like to add, you are not allowed to beat yourself up for past mistakes. You are not allowed to judge others for their past mistakes unless you're free of sin. And don't wear white after Labor Day. May the light of God surround you. May the love of God enfold you. May the power of God protect you. And may the presence of God watch over you. Wherever you are, God is.
Thank you, Chip and Norma. We'll now continue with our unprogrammed worship. And say goodbye to those who need to move on for whatever reason, and hope to see you next Sunday. Are all hearts free?
Mine's free.
Thank you, Chip. You always have good things to say.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you left out two of the most important words.
What?
What if? A lot of us spend a lot of time wondering, what if? That's a very good message.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chip.
Thank you. The computer had me just totally floored. And of course,
It's called flumps.
Well,
and then
that's,
not being home and
Yeah.
had to work on it.
as you say, even Adam had trouble with an apple.
That's right.
So just
Yeah,
those that love them, and
those that don't.
those that don't.
Ready to use a hammer on them. I just can't believe all the stuff I've had to buy new. I had to get a new printer.
Oh, really?
I had
Wow.
Troy had to order me this thing that the computer sets on, so I have extra places to plug in.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye, good to see y'all.